on money supply. Now, we hear about money supply in macro course, but we really do not know them. We just call that a variable M, and money is the cash we carry. But when we get into more details about money supply, you realize that the practices in a country like India, like other countries, there are various kinds of definitions of money supply. And in simple words, money supply is an aggregate arithmetical addition of items. You change items, you get a different definition of money supply. So, what I did was first define money supply the way it exists in India today. And I told you there are two money supply variables which are most popular, the narrow money M1 and the broad money M3. And two more traditional aggregates are there, M2 and M4. We do not use usually M2 and M4. You will not see much practice of using M2 and M4. Then I told you about how late 90s there was a working group at RBI under the chairmanship of the then governor of RBI, Dr. Y.V. Reddy. They came up with some new definitions of money supply to accommodate the changes that were happening in the Indian economy. The Indian economy went through a globalization, privatization and liberalization, three kinds of things since 1991, June. And that industrial economic policy changed things over a period of 10 years or so. So, they are 9 years, 8 years. So, they came up with new definitions of money supply called NM1, NM2 and M3. And what surprised me is that on RBI side, they also have very similar to money supply something they call liquidity aggregates, not monetary aggregates. These are money supplies are called monetary aggregates. They are called liquidity aggregates, which are also containing components of money supply, and for reasons which are not very clear why liquidity aggregates were formed. But there are liquidity aggregates which take into account all kinds of money market instruments. Now, the money market instruments you do not know, because that is coming up in next topic. So, if you open liquidity aggregates on RBI site, you will see okay, there are some components which were there in monetary aggregates or new monetary aggregates, and there are things which you never heard before and you will hear in the next topic, liquidity aggregates. Now, what is not clear to me, in what context RBI make use of these liquidity aggregates. Monetary aggregates they use normally when they talk about monetary policy. It is very important to keep track of, like a person's health. We want to keep a person's health observed. You take into the heartbeat, take the pulse rate, what you say, the pressure, other blood profiles, you keep check on that. In case of a macroeconomy and particularly monetary policy, which is the central bank responsibility, not government responsibility, central bank's responsibility, monetary policy, fiscal policy is government's responsibility, monetary policy is central bank's responsibility. Central bank keeps track of monetary aggregates and they control them, all right, they expand them, they contract them, etc. And monetary policy will become more clear in the next topic, how central bank operates monetary policy in India. Next topic, the following topic. This is my, essentially this is what I have done in this course. Now, and then I went into some nice, small, simple, theoretical manipulations or derivations, where I told you about the connection between something called monetary base and monetary aggregates. And I came up with two simple multipliers called money multipliers. One is the simple money multiplier, the connection between M0 and M0, M1 and M0, and the complex money multiplier, the connection between M3 and M0. And if you open government documents, they also have a chapter like economic survey or monetary policy in India, or the RBI handles it. you will see they have extensive data and information on these money multipliers. Plots like mine, plots, etc., they have that. So, I went into the money multipliers. Then what I was doing, I was trying to just show you the data, aggregate data on these variables, multipliers, money supply, etc., in the last 10, 15, 20 years. And what we strikingly noticed is the difference between M3 and M1, number 1. You can see the green line M3 and where is M1, the pink line, huge difference. When we tried to find out why is the difference, then we went into that this is the growth rate. M3 is more stable than M1 or monetary base. Monetary base absorbs the shocks immediately. If there is any shock in the economy, either from the foreign sector, export, import, etc., capital inflows, or within the economy, thus like a part of the body which absorbs the shock right away. In car, you have shock absorbers. When it hits a pit or it hits a bump, there is a jerk, and good cars have good shock absorbers which absorbs the shock. So, you inside do not feel that much. What you see here is that M1 and M0 are very close to each other, the previous diagram. M0, pink line and the blue line very close to each other. So, they are very intimately related. I was talking about two friends going for a walk in the evening, very closely related. So, what is happening? Any shock in M0 is immediately probably seen also in M1, because the following diagram you can clearly see the growth rate of the blue line and the growth rate of the red line are two kind of similar, and the green has its own pattern, like the two young fellows jumping up and down the road when they walk, and there is an elderly person who has a very smooth kind of even speed, cannot jump up and down, aged, whatever. It has its own path. There is one big hump, a jump there, spike, but then it is gradually tapering off. You can see the line is coming down. So, the growth rate is very steady. So, M3 does not absorb much of the shock, it is very protected. So, M3 has its own characteristics, it has its own path to follow. You notice that here, and you notice the earlier one, M3 is way ahead also in terms of the line slope, way ahead, very different from M0 or M1. So, the question is why is it so? The explanation is in terms of on the multipliers. So, I need to get into multipliers. So, what I did after that was a series of lines to talk about the percentage shares within these. What are important in M0? What are important in M1? What are important and how important are they? Are they changing? Is there changing importance? Not much. A little bit of bifurcation now with currency and demand deposits here in M1. They were very close to each other for a while. They came down to each other, and there is a bifurcation coming again. So, people have a more habit of holding currency, which happens in stagflation kind of a situation in India we have, where you have stagnation, which is recession, and inflation. People do not get much return by putting money in the bank. So, they instead keep on buying things also, because real goods carry more value, okay, and inflation prices are going to go up tomorrow. So, anybody wanting to buy a car, rather not wait, buy the car, because unnecessarily 20,000 more they have to pay only 2 or 3 months later. What is the point? Okay. So, these kind of things, have government taxes go up in recession, government also does not have money, keep on taxing. It is a very contradictory kind of a system, a situation that arises. Economy not doing well, government also raises taxes, government wants to spend more, where will the government get money? You want government to spend more on welfare schemes, unemployment, etc., because people are laid off, and then government does not have money, so government keeps on taxing more. Who can pay the taxes? Fixed income group gets tax, because they cannot avoid the tax. Company business जो करते हैं वो 2 नंबरी करके tax avoid करते हैं बहुत. It is a catch-22 situation. Okay, all sorts of unpleasant things start happening in the economy, in the macroeconomy, which you probably know from the macroeconomics course. Next, M3, very different diagram. एक आदमी M3 के अंदर एक component dominate कर रहा है. This is one feature of M3 also. Another feature of M3, time deposits dominate. and currency demand deposits are way down there. There is not much of a change, they are very close to each other.
Acha.
Then the velocity I was talking about, of course, V3 is the one to look for, the lower line, the red line. What do you expect the velocity to happen in a modern world where there is more smart money, card money, etc., credit cards, charge cards, what you call them, the smart cards, you know, all sorts of automatic teller machines, of course, increases the velocity. But you have all sorts of cards where checking systems are better. You make payments through checks. So, one would expect, I think, Irving Fisher's hypothesis to be still true, that technological developments and institutional changes will alter velocity of money, and that too in the long run. And you can see the line is not dramatically reducing, line is definitely steadily reducing, going down. This steady downswing, downhill, not a dramatic fall at all, is clearly supporting Irving Fisher's hypothesis that the technological improvements and institutional changes occur only slowly in an economy. And over a period of how many years I have? 20-year period. Over a 20-year period, the number has come down from 2 to 1, velocity of money. So, now simple arithmetical calculation, what is happening today in the economy, the nominal GDP is nearly matching the nominal money supply, M3 or something like that. That velocity is saying nominal GDP at current prices is more or less equal to money supply. Velocity is what? MV is equal to Py. If you do roughly, you use that equation, then this is the story. Today in India, it was double. So, when nominal GDP was 10, money supply was 5 because velocity was 2. Now, nominal GDP 10 also means money supply 10. Dramatic change, but it happened over a period of 20 years. Very important data here. So, one need not write PhD thesis or do research work on velocity anymore. It is not an important number anymore. If the number was high, people would have thought about why is it so. A low number does not create much interest. Is that clear? So, now let us get into these other things. Then I will get into the money multiplier. I was talking about sources of money stock. Money stock, which is the monetary base, one need to find out what are the sources of shocks, what creates it. You have water in the room, you want to know from where the water has come. It may come from a seepage, that means rainfall. It may come from a leaking tap somewhere. It may come from a mischief. Somebody put water here, came in a bucket, room was open and put water here. So, source of money stock is where it's coming from. RBI wants to know, central government, central bank always wants to know, because those are the places they need to study. Where is it coming from? You can see that a blue line dominates here, all right. You clearly see one line dominating and is going up, and there is some orange line and a deeper blue line underneath. What are the three lines? So, there are three items which contribute to money stock in India today, and for quite a while. You see other lines are flat on the x-axis, everybody lying on bed. Dormitory में सब सो गया, एक के बाद एक बेड है, एक एक आइटम का सब सो रहा है. Everybody at sleep, you know, peace with itself. There is this light blue line is NEFA. NEFA is net foreign exchange assets. That is the source of money supply, money stock change, not money supply. That is called monetary base change. The foreign exchange earnings that Indian exporters and Indian capital market receives through portfolio investment and foreign direct investment, and foreign exchange earnings of exporters contributing to rising monetary base. You clearly see that. This is absolute numbers here, not percentage, all right. Then you see an orange line. The orange line is what? The orange line is, oh, I need not talk about orange line, I will talk about that later. Then another blue line, the dark blue line. What is the dark blue line? Net credit to state and central government. The top item and the second last item. These two items are dominating here. Note, two sources of monetary base, very important. Net credit to state and central government is this line. This line is erratic. It has been negative also and has been going up. When is it going up? After 7, 8. Is it going up after 7, 8? Steadily? What happened in 8? 8 August recession set in the Western world. So, the financial year 7, 8, that means 7 April to 8 March, all right, it was way down there. But then after that 8, 9, 9, 10, 10, 11, 11, 12, all going up. So, central bank, state government and central government are borrowing from RBI, number 1 point. Typical scene in a recession, government budget is in deficit, tax revenues are falling, economy's income is falling and government has to depend upon borrowing to fund its expenditures. Typical scene is nothing unusual and you can clearly see that hypothesis holds with this recession business going on. Clearly, it was negative. Why? Negative means government was returning money to RBI what it borrowed in the past. Net is a net variable, net. I borrow, I return. What is the number? If it is minus, means I am returning more than I am borrowing from RBI. That is a minus number. Returning means paying off debts. It was negative. Now, it has been going up and up. This is one line. Another one, very interestingly, recession or no recession, there is after 8 a down a little bit. Clearly, there is a break in the system. It was moving in a direction, suddenly I change my mind, I go somewhere else and then follow another path. And after that, it has been going up again. Very interesting, despite recession, net foreign exchange earnings are going up in India. So, there is foreign direct investment coming in, the portfolio investment is coming, share market may, there is export earnings still going in India. Foreign assets. Plus, there is one more thing probably, I do not know whether it is reflected here. RBI invests heavily with its surpluses in the international market, foreign securities वगैरह बहुत खरीदते हैं to make money. ठीक है, जैसे चाइना कर रहे हैं आज. China, you know where it invests a lot these days, other than expansion of real investment, monetary investment, euro, American government bills, treasury bills, euro bills. चाइना बजट सरप्लस सेंट्रल बैंक का बहुत उधर जाते हैं, गवर्नमेंट का एक्सेट्रा, चाइनीज सेंट्रल बैंक्स surpluses. They make money and if you buy a good government securities, there is hardly any chance of a default, they would pay you interest. In a market kind of a situation, there is a chance of losing money. Suppose there is a slump, all right, suddenly some stock markets crashed, there is an uncertainty. But when you buy a government bill, government bills are most secure. It is called, next topic I will talk about, they are called gilt-edged securities. Gilt means zero risk, hardly any risk. Okay. So, maybe that is another source of income for this RBI for next foreign exchange assets, they are going up. And there is a orange line, I talked about that. This is a minus number. I want to show you that minus number here, which is deducted to get the monetary base value. This is revaluation, etc., of assets that you already have. At the time when dollar came 6 months back and I converted that into currency and gave that to you, you earned the dollar. Now, you cannot use dollar in India. So, you give the dollar to me, I give you the rupee to you. Now, that dollar value because of depreciation has gone up. does not mean the currency in India has gone up. But if you have to balance a balance sheet where there are assets and liabilities, all right, that is how you correct. You deduct that value from your asset value, all right, revaluation when dollar take place. That dollar stock एक बैग में था, उसका वैल्यू आज बढ़ गया, उसके मीनिंग नहीं इंडिया में करेंसी भी बढ़ गया, because they are not exchanging today, they exchange that in the past. Similarly, gold, etc. If international prices change, my stock of gold value goes up overnight. That does not mean the currency in India has also gone up. You understand what I am saying? So, that orange line is significant. So, sources of monetary stock, there are two lines which are important right now. None of the other items are important. Net credit to banks and NABARD not important, they are not borrowing from RBI. Net credit to commercial sector is not important, way down there, flat. Government currency liability to bahut hi kam hai. How much coins are there? I told you, it is a fractional reserve system. We have 1%, 1.2% coins. The entire 98%, more than 98% of our currency is in notes. So, government currency liability, how much will it be? Not important. It does not change much either. Are you following me? You got to follow me, you got to enjoy this also, because you are really learning real economics here. This is exactly the story of India today, Indian money market. Acha. Next, I want to talk about share of sources. This is the percentage I have done. As I told you, the green line is the NEFA. Share of percentage देखो एकदम ऊपर थोड़ा dent है, ऊपर ही जा रहा है. And then the blue line, what is the blue line? Government. Which I just told you, the source, government is next important. And the lilac line hai, is the orange line in the previous diagram is the net non-monetary liabilities. देखो recently non-monetary liabilities कैसे ऊपर जा रहा है line? You know why it is so? Tell me. Last 2 years it's been going up. Exactly. Revaluation में बहुत बढ़ गया डॉलर का वैल्यू RBI के पास जो था in terms of Indian currency, but they haven't pumped in Indian currency at all. It's just the rupee value of dollar has gone up because the rupee is depreciating, and you can clearly see the net non-monetary liabilities are going up too, which they have to deduct. Remember, one minus item is there from M0, a bunch of items added and one item is deducted. If you look at the formula, I told you in class. All right, and the rest of the items, bank, commercial sector, government currency liability, that orange line, the orange line का percentage किधर आए है देखो, nearly zero today, कोई importance है ही नहीं. So, one item and government borrowing are the sources of change in monetary base in India today. Two items. Okay. If you go back to 70s, 80s data, I wonder if I wish you can do that. I don't have that data, I haven't done that. You will see sources of monetary base in India. Which item was dominating, you know? That NEFA line was another line. NEFA wasn't there, zero, nearly zero. क्या था समझ पाएंगे? Government borrowing. And this guy here, banks borrowing, commercial sector borrowing, they were the two important lines. I can challenge, you can get the data and plot them for 10 years at 70s or 60s or even 80s. You will see this NEFA line was not there at all to be seen. It was like one of these guys lying here. Okay? Government, the blue line, government borrowing, and these other lines. Pattern has completely changed. Source of money, monetary base change, source of monetary base completely changed the distribution. You can do a study if you wish, you know, I don't know if you want to. Our monetary base is changing sources, and therefore, the changing pattern of the Indian economy is clearly connected, very well connected. Okay. Next is multiplier. Final thing, money multiplier. These are the components of multiplier. Kya kya tha? Small c, small e, small t, small r, small omega or gamma. Not omega, gamma. Small c is currency demand deposit ratio, ye wala line. Lilac is the R line, which is a simple CRR, only on demand deposits. This is the actual CRR, which is very low as a percentage term. So, there is this lilac line, which is not very important. In simple money multiplier, it is there. Gamma, this one is in complex money multiplier. The blue line is important. This is the currency demand deposit ratio. And one line here dominates. It's a very interesting. There are structural breaks. There are structural breaks. It was steadily going up to a point, early 20th in 21st century. Then it came down, and then it's steadily rising. Even in recession, it's steadily going up. That's what. That also shows how Indian people respond or behave when it comes to savings, for instance. What they do, they are not very smart with capital market at all. Share market में investment काफी सुनेंगे नहीं इधर. अच्छा. So what they do, they look for kind of mutual fund kind of an investment. I have also done that. A bank fixed deposits. ऊपर रख दो, कुछ तो मिलेगा return. Safe है एकदम. This time deposit business, this line dominating is clearly this also a feature of Indian citizens or savers. Demand deposit may be going down. Currency to demand deposit ratio is not changing much, maybe going up a little bit last 2 years. This is the last 2 years only. 10, 11, 11, 12. Much, not much, a little bit going up maybe. Picking up, last 2 years recession has severed, which I told you why people would like to hold currency, because they would like to spend, and spend costs are also going up. It's like a company's profit function, costs are going up. Buying goods are more expensive with inflation. Food cost in front of my eyes from 130-40 rupees, it has gone up to 230-40. Clearly 100 rupees jump in the last year and a half year. Food costs. सब्जी जो मैं मंगाता हूँ बिल देते हैं घर आके, काफ़ी टाइम मैं ही ऑर्डर देता हूँ and they bring it over and they give me a पर्चा कागज में. Initially I couldn't believe the bill I am paying. Food costs, for instance, have gone up enormously. So often on TV when they talk about inflation in India today, they don't speak about a lot food inflation only. If you have a subset of food items and get their CPI values, all right, and calculate a subset of inflation, not the aggregate inflation, only the food inflation, yes, very high right now, nearly 20% or something per annum, food inflation. Wholesale price index inflation is about 7.5 or something right now. Food inflation is still very high, which is a subset of items in that WPI group. They are all available. The weightage kitna hai WPI ke andar food items ka. Have you seen WPI breakdown? Wholesale price index India, you haven't seen. These are things you need to check out yourself. I can give you sources. What are the items in WPI and what's the weightage? Every item has a weight. So there are food items, primary articles, there are electricity, etc., fuel. There are also manufactured and semi-finished goods, which interest producers. Various items are there in WPI. Acha. This is a good measure of inflation of any country, WPI. What is the name of WPI in US or some other Western countries? What is the name of WPI in Western countries? They don't have a WPI. We call in India wholesale price index. What is called in Western countries? बताओ जो भी आ रहा है मन में. GDP deflator is very different from WPI. It's there in every country, but WPI is not called WPI in other countries. CPI is also another measure which is there in other countries. What is WPI in other countries? What is the WPI? Very good, wonderful. It's called Producers Price Index. If you read Man-Q, first chapter has it. They don't have something called WPI, it's our name. Americans, for instance, call that Producer Price Index. Same thing. Acha, PPI. So, T, small t is a very dominating factor. So, what you are expecting? The partial derivatives that you have seen, the multiplier, what do you expect the multiplier values? What do you expect the multiplier values going to be? If t is so high, this is the simple credit multiplier 1 over r, it is a nonsense. 1 over gamma is just for fun. I have done credit multiplier. It's a very simplistic thing, just to check. It's not an important slide. There you go. What do you notice here? Very distinctive, very significant. A multiplier value, remember, not the absolute value of my m naught. A multiplier value, if you look at the complex multiplier, it was flat down 3 till mid 90s. After mid 90s, uska haal kya hua dekho. It has gone up from 3 to over 5, a multiplier. So, 100 crores of change in monetary base now creates 500 crores of change in M3. That is the M3, or more than 500 crores. So, why is the M3 line like that? A very simple reason. Monetary base does not affect that much, we have seen that. Is the multiplier itself, which consists of behavioral parameters, how Indians behave. Indians are behaving differently after mid 1990s. Banks, reserve ratio, etc. We need to check the data, actual numbers may not be changed, may not have changed much. The E value, the CRR value may not have changed much as percentage. But what has changed is how people in India keep time deposits and money in demand deposit accounts. T, the T thing, and you look at the multiplier here, that is significant rise. You are going flat on a plane, literally. Small humps there, एक bump है इधर उधर. ये अभी सीधा ऊपर एक split है नीचे, जरूर ये नीचे dip इधर, ये नीचे dip वाला वो जब first year of recession में हुआ, shock आते हैं ना, सब nervous हो जाता है. Time deposits. Let's check the actual numbers. Let's check the actual numbers. Okay, I have the data here, tables. Let's check the actual values. When it changed, topic 2 tables. All right. The first column is C. C, E. E very steady. 8 था, नीचे चला गया इस percentage 4. 7, 8 में 4. C, E, T, R, gamma. R को इग्नोर करो, gamma. Gamma देखो 12% था, बहुत हाई था. अभी ड्रॉप करते करते 06, 07, थोड़ा बड़े है. ठीक है. So, last few years, let's see the first column C, second column E, T, and the last column gamma, CRR, or cash with banks deposits with RBI. This is what I have done, banks deposits, just no CRR, banks deposits plus CRR. It is CRR plus cash, बैंक का cash जो RBI के पास रहते हैं. अब देखो एक चीज़ इधर, C बोला 1.22, 1.25, 102, 0278 में 98, दुम से बड़े आए 89, रिसेशन ईयर. 1.13 कमे है, बड़े है, बढ़ रहा है. रिसेशन जा नहीं रहा है, बढ़ रहा है. C. E देखो, I told you this bank's behavioral parameter won't change much. Banking policies, how much people withdraw as cash, the cash they are receiving these days, so much. that the percentage of cash they keep with themselves, E, as reserve cash, is not going to change much, because when the total is changing so much, the same percentage is good enough for them to meet your and my requirements, to put in the automatic teller machines, all right, as some precautionary money, whatever they keep. लेकिन ये वाला क्या था, ये वाला एक 784.9 89, अरे बाप रे 89 तो ये बढ़ गया, और डिप वाला 89 नहीं है, 910 में डिप वाला है 5.68. The second year 8-9 recession, not 9-10, the second year of the recession. In fact, people said when recession hit the Western world, India was hardly affected. Nothing we felt here. The second year 9-10, we started feeling it. The inflation started going up. If you check the data, all this, you will see that. So the second year, there is a time deposit to demand deposit ratio change here, and then it has been going up again. So people are people have got used to the illness in the economy. They've gone back to the fixed deposit habits. Second year में कुछ हुआ था, and CRR तो ऊंचा था 1.1 something, 0.08, 0.06, which is nearly some 0.4. Now, if you look at the standard deviation here, how much it has changed over the last 20 years, 22 years, which is the lowest standard deviation here? E, banks, then the CRR, all right. This one you can ignore, 1, this is the highest. So the time deposit line, which is the dominant line, time deposit to demand deposit ratio, has the highest standard deviation also. That people have changed over time. That's very interesting. So if you go back to that green line, it has fluctuated most. Let me check the green line in the previous diagram. Is it true what it is saying? The standard deviation is most. Yeah, you clearly see the green line has been responding for whatever reason in the economy, how people are keeping money in savings account and how people are keeping money in fixed deposit account is definitely responding much more sensitive. It's dominant among all other parameters, but is also having the highest fluctuations. Standard deviation measures fluctuation. Average value लेके deviation measure करते हैं. You take the average of the series and then the deviation from the average, and then you normalize that with the number of observations or something. Standard measure of deviation, fluctuation, variance. इसको statistics में variance कहते हैं. Is the standard most simple measure of variability. All right. Weather कितना fluctuate करते हैं, temperature how much it fluctuates. You can always measure a variance. Standard deviation is doing that. EAC is very clear. Why is it so? The standard deviation value is the highest, 1. You can see the green line. कितना variation है, देखा? Compared to any other line, is very steady. So this is the story. A money supply, not money market. आ रहा है. इसके बाद topic money market. अभी तक ठीक है? Is it all right, all of you?